I'm here in Benin, not just to see what it can offer the tourist, but to find out more about one of the most pressing issues that faces people in countries like this. Like most visitors, I arrive in Cotonou. It's by far the biggest city in Benin and a major transport hub for the whole region. Nearly 900,000 people live here, and another 250,000 are expected in the next 10 years. I head for Gambie, one of the main tourist attractions a few miles out of town. It may not be the Venice of Africa that it's sometimes claimed to be, but it's a fascinating way to see everyday life. This is a community that lives daily with the reality of land shortage. It's not just the shortage of land in this ever-growing city. The whole land system is unfair and outdated. Most people lack proper documentation or real security. Hoping to find out more about the challenges of running a city with too many people and too little land, I go to the city council and talk with the director of finance. He tells me how they're setting up a proper system for land records. Their urban land register not only clarifies rights, it also provides a tax base, and with it some chance of providing the kind of services that this expanding city desperately needs. If I stay on the coast, I won't fully understand the problems facing Benin. So I head north for Abomey, a few hours' drive up country. This was once the capital of Dahomey, one of the great African empires which flourished here during the 16th and 19th centuries. The old royal palace, now a museum, has much history, though some of the still sacred exhibits are off limits for filming, like the king's throne that stands on the skulls of his defeated enemies. Since those times, much has changed in the way that government is administered, as I discover at the local council's town planning department. Staff there are keen to tell me how all their work on land reform is helping to give them a much better base to plan and to tackle the town's economic and social needs. It's clear to me that there are many needs to be met. Most people have to rely on informal work, and customary practices in land use are still widespread. This all adds to the difficulty of raising housing and living standards, not to mention meeting the Millennium Goals. Travelling south again gives me a window on 21st century Africa. In Benin, most people live in rural areas, but in 20 years the majority will be living in towns and cities. My next stop is Ouidah. This is a unique town, forever linked to its part in the slave trade. This is the site of the auction tree, and up to 1 million Africans went into slavery from here. On the streets of Ouidah, I can see the reality of the informal economy. Like these young children left to run a street stall. The local council looks to be keen on creating prosperity. I go to find out more, and meeting the deputy mayor and some of his staff, They tell me about the reforms they want to see in their town, like better access to land security. And I see how they're getting their own land registry up and running. In no time I'm back in Cotonou, with a better understanding of this small but poor country. I'm in no doubt that many people lack security, but also that some local councils are making a real attempt to bring about reforms. With better land rights, I can see there is some hope for the kind of development that is so obviously needed.